Tench is prized fish for most anglers. They do fight very well and possess looks of a perfect fish to boot. As a result, there are countries which call tench a national fish. So an angler hungry for knowledge should consider learning about the species to improve his or her game. During this video, following 6 topics will be covered. 1. Looks, 2. Habitat, 3. Tackle and tactics, 4. Location, 5. Baits, and lastly 6. Methods. Tench has muscular body with rounded fins and large, broad tail fin which reminds of a paintbrush. Body color varies from olive green to very dark brown-green. Often they will have a light golden to almost orange belly. The eyes are small and very distinctive as they are red in color. Fish have small mouths with thick lips. The fins are gray and look almost black in color at the edges. Their bodies are covered with tiny scales that are deeply set in the skin, and their entire bodies are covered in thick slime, making them very soft to touch but very difficult to hold. Tench are very much still water species but can also be found in some river systems where flows are slow and the water is deep. They are very hardy species, able to live in water with very low oxygen levels. As a result of that, species often are the only fish to survive pollution incidents. Tench spawn later in the year than most other species, requiring warm water temperatures to spawn. So it is normally June and July when water temperatures reach between 18 and 24 degrees Celsius. A few males will normally chase several females, with the actual spawning happening in early morning. A healthy female tench can produce from 300,000 to 400,000 eggs, but bigger individuals can release a few times more. The tench prefer to spawn in shallow beds of thick, soft weed and marginal vegetation, where eggs are being laid, and then the females fertilizing them by releasing their milk directly over the eggs. Spawning can be repeated within a few weeks' time, and several spawnings may take place given right conditions. The eggs are adhesive and they stick to the aquatic weeds and other underwater objects. These hatch within 4 to 6 days, and then 4 to 5 mm long larvae simply hang vertically from the vegetation. During next 5 to 10 days, they absorb their yolk sac, and then at about 6 mm in length detach themselves and start to feed. Initially, the tench fry start to feed on one-cell algae and zooplankton, and these often remain their main diet until fish reach about 12 cm in length. They will also eat small larvae of aquatic insects and microcrustaceans. Initially, the sexes grow at the same pace, but after 2 or 3 years, the males slow considerably. At around 2 years old, the males develop larger pelvic fins than the females. These large paddle-like fins have distinct hard muscles immediately above the base of the fins and upward curving front ray. At this age, the fish are sexually mature. While tench usually live for around 15 years, they can live longer given good conditions. In captivity, tench can live up to 13 years old. Tench are excellent fighters. They are powerful and making good runs on well-balanced tackle, often changing direction to seek the refuge of weeds and other obstacles. Recommended mainline for tench fishing should be between 0.20 to 0.25 monofilament, that is from 4 pounds to 6 pounds, and hook lengths of 0.15 mm in diameter, so around 3 pounds as minimum. But if weeds and snags are present, it would be smart to increase the line diameters so fish could be landed safely. In general, strong, thick wire hooks between sizes 10 to 16, depending on the bait, must be used. Targeting and finding tench in lakes is a reasonably simple task during certain times of the year, as the fish are never too far from weed beds and marginal shelves, which provide a great habitat. Often they will give their location away at dawn and dusk by rolling. Tench bubbles themselves are created when the tench digs in the weed and silt, sifting silt out before crushing its food, and the bubbles escape through the gills. So, if you see tiny white bubbles on the surface, often produced in distinct trailing lines, you will know that browsing tench are not too far away. Sometimes, despite these encouraging signs, the fish will be preoccupied on tiny natural baits, so either keep changing the tactics and use small baits, or move to a different swim where you will find a tench which is willing to feed on the baits that you have on the day. Since their natural food are bloodworms, small crustaceans and microscopic foods, tench are naturally attracted to worms, red maggots and castor. However, they can be often tempted by bread flake, pellets, wheat corn, luncheon meat, prawns or small boilies. Ground baits are very effective when targeting tench also. Cereal-based ground bait or fish meal-based ground bait or mix of the two often will trick a fish to investigate. Tench also love hemp, which works great during the spring when maggots are used as a hook bait. Try to use fine ground bait with just a few freebies, as within particle-loaded ground bait you will see the tench becoming preoccupied and difficult to catch. As tench are bottom feeders, one must present their bait on the bottom, ideally close to lilies and reed beds. As tench are slow feeders, hook bait must be as static as possible also. Waggler or slider float is a classic way to target tench. Float rigs must be set over depths from a few centimeters up to half a meter depending on the wind and other conditions. Sometimes tench bites may look as if they are playing with the bait, little lifts, dings, pulls and so on the float. This is related to tench's feeding habits. They are slow feeders with poor vision, and those indications on the float mostly are created by one or more fish moving around in the baited area and touching the line with fins and so on. It's important that one remains patient and lets the float eventually disappear when the fish takes the bait confidently. Feeder fishing for tench is very effective way to nail a few fish too. Rigs with long hook lengths are effective, as are fixed rigs with short hook lengths like the method rig or the helicopter rig. Ground baits, maggots, pellets are all effective to use in the feeders themselves. But it will be it for this video. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.